So I'm going to do this pen and wash painting, and I spent a little bit of time just drawing out the shape of the van. But apart from that, everything else I put in pretty quickly. So I'm going to start off and firstly just thinking what type of scene I want to create, and I do want to make it nice and bright, maybe some fluffy clouds just coming across here, and then we've got the sea and just hitting the shore over here. So let's give this a try. We're going to wet the sky first, just the top section with the blue. So just pre-wet the paper, and actually I'll go further down, pre-wet this section as well, a little bit. And I'm going to go grab some cerulean blue, just pop it in like that, stronger on top, and we'll bring this down the page, and I'll add in a bit of grey, teeny bit of grey as well. And we'll bring this wash further down, like that. And to the end, I'm going to add in a bit of orange mixed with yellow. This. That to mix in like that. See if we can get a bit of alizarin crimson in as well. Cut around. Well, actually, we can go over this figure. The umbrella I'm going to cut around and bring that all the way down to these trees here. Pick up more of the paint, go back into it. Again, cut around some of these bits of rock and things like that. Okay. Top bit's dried a little bit, so I'm just adding in some darker paint up the top to signify some clouds. And I'm going to do that here as well, just smaller cloud shapes down the bottom. And as we go up, I'm going to make them a bit darker, like that. There's a big cloud shape over on the left hand side. Just emphasize that more. And I do think the horizon just needs to be stronger, a bit stronger here. So I'm going to go in while it's still wet, add some more colour in there, like that. Okay. On this side I'll just leave. May have to glaze over it later if I need to. This little area, transition area, needs a bit of work. Add in some greys and just a bit of blue as well. That's help it merge together, so it's not just all of a sudden. Okay. Looking fine. So moving down the page, I'm gonna get in this water first. So grabbing some blue, cerulean blue, bring that all the way down, and just remember also to leave some white on the paper for these waves. Like that. Bit of cobalt blue, darken it up as we get further down to the front of the page. More cobalt blue. Okay. That. darker at the front. This. The page is still wet. I'm going to see if I can drop in bits of darker paint as well. Some waves. Like that. Okay, don't want to overdo it. Now, gonna do this area here in front, and for that I'm gonna pick up some orange and maybe a bit of burnt sienna just mixed into that as well, and we'll go in like this, leaving some parts of this white of the paper as well, though some other areas you're gonna try to mix it. This paper dries really quickly, so it's hard to get that effect. But I'm just gonna color in this whole section basically here. We'll move it further up like that, just around the car, around this figure as well. Like this. Okay. And as we get further down the page, I'm just gonna add some more darks as well, like that, and even just some general lines and things. Getting a bit of that shadow under the car, like that. Okay. Bit of little bits of lines and things like that down the back area. Okay. I'm going to just try adding in a bit of water now into this mix to encourage some bloom effects. Like that. See if I can reduce a little bit of this white as well on the paper, and put some emphasis into where it touches the sand. Like that. Okay. Soften that edge, that corner. Smooth this bit out a little bit. But I like these interesting blooming effects. See how that goes. Okay. So we're going to get in the car pretty quickly with, I'm going to go purple. So let's mix up a bit of this blue and red, crimson, alizarin crimson, and cobalt blue. Should make a pretty nice bright sort of purple. Okay, that's looking all right. So just under here. You've got these lights as well that you want to cut around a bit if possible. That. And with these windows, I'm going to darken them up with a bit of grey. This. Too precise. A bit darker. Alright. And last thing we'll do is the background. These little rocks hanging around the background. Oh, one thing I've forgotten is this umbrella. And I'm going to go with the red. So let's colour this one in like that. We'll let that dry off. So while that's happening, I'm going to go and do this background. This has to be the darkest part of the painting. So I'm going to mix up some of this blue/purple with some burnt umber. I've got a good mix here. Grab the flat brush. Where is it? And we'll just, it's not thick enough. Like this. And we'll just get in these rocks/trees in the background. Pretty dark. There's one coming out here. Remember to cut around this figure as well. And that. And around the back of the car, like this, move that down to the horizon line. I've forgotten to draw that in actually. There we go. And we can just, while the paint's wet, just get that darker if we need. Like that. Just want some of this pen to still show through though. Okay. Now we'll get this person in, some of these figures, so a bit of alizarin crimson, and we'll get this guy in first. Okay. It's kind of spread, but like that. And we'll put some clothes on him in a moment. Just want to get this layer through. Also this dog, darken there. I've got to decide where the shadow is coming from. And we'll make the shadow come from the right hand side to the left. Give that a try. I think that will look a bit more interesting. Otherwise the shadows will go outside of the painting, and we're going to figure out also how this is going to look on the van, but we'll leave that for a moment. Let's get this figure in here. Just add a bit of colour to the arms and the legs. This little fella here sitting on top of the car, the van, bit of colour in there as well. Noticing the whites are just looking a bit harsh at the moment. Very tempted just to go over it with a very light wash of warm grey. So let me just test that, see what it looks like. It's a bit yellowish, that's okay. I just think it looks too stark. So color some of this in like that. Add in a bit of this color as well underneath the windows. Maybe a bit on the top here too. Let that do its thing. And some of these boxes, colour them in a bit as well. So really now all we've got left to do is the figures. Give that a quick dry. So shadows we'll need to get in, and some of the clothes. Let's get some shorts on this guy. I'm gonna go darker blue. That. Same with this fella on top. We'll go with another warm grey here for this figure. And another thing is that they're underneath this umbrella, which is casting a bit of a shadow on these boxes and things. So I'm going to try to get that in at the same time and join the shadow of the car up with that, and hopefully, let's see how this goes. I'm going to try to get the shadow in of the umbrella like that. Okay, that's looking all right. Umbrella also needs a bit of a shadow underneath here, like this. See if I can muddy that up a bit. Underneath here, darker. Little stem of the umbrella. Stem of the umbrella, let's get that in. Oops. Okay. And maybe the shadow cast from the car, that needs to go forwards more, like this, joining onto this shadow of the dog, and this figure here standing next to the sea. I want to get in some of these waves, see if we can get some too dark. This. Right. Don't want to overdo it. Some darks here as well. little ones in the background like that. Could be a rock. And just some dry brush, and this could be just seaweed and that kind of thing washed up. So just as a few finishing touches, I've just added in a bit of yellow, light yellow, to the headlights, and a bit of red here for the indicator lights as well. And just darken that a bit more. And in the background, just added in a few birds flying around. Really helps to break that sky up a little bit. Try to be as random as possible with the birds. Don't put them all in one spot. And let me see if there's little bits and pieces I can maybe add in here as well. Just a little bit in here. That. Really just polishing it up, but it's more or less finished. Maybe get a bit of hair on that figure to the back. Should it be coming down about here? Let's see. Just leaning in, picking something up from there. Maybe this person as well. And if you want, you can do things like strengthen areas of the painting, like this shadow. Make that darker. This figure as well. Add a bit of a shadow there. Oops. Of the umbrella. Cutting across those windows. And the roof as well. And remembering to leave some of the colour of the window, the lighter blue that we've painted in earlier on. Just thought it needed to be a bit darker. Emphasize this area that's in the shade of the umbrella. Especially the back end here. Cut this whole tire in like that. And even under here, make it a bit darker. This is just going to keep a bit more of a contrast between this darker area and the lighter area in the front. Felt it needed that quick touch up underneath the umbrella too, just to darken that up and soften a bit of that edge too. And we're finished.